If you have said to yourself, I should write that, or if someone has said to you, you should write that, then I'm talking to you because you need to write. And that's why you're tuned in to yWrite. Hi, welcome to yWrite. I'm your host, Angela Grout. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of yWrite. This is the show where I bring on some fabulous guests to talk about why they're writing, how they started writing, and, just to learn a little bit more about the process of writing. Because some of you out there need to write your story, and, in every single one of these episodes, we have talked about different ways to write a story, so I'm sure something will resonate with you. Today, we're talking about playwriting. We are talking about staging a production, putting it in the theater, and it's very exciting because I have a Springfield stage writer, playwright, Benjamin Smith here in the studio. So I want to welcome Benjamin.
Thank you.
And Benjamin studies at Harvard for theater and dramatic arts, and he has written the play The Obituary,
yes,
which is the shirt that I'm wearing. And The Obituary is having so much success in Massachusetts and in New York and in North Carolina.
Yes.
You're a marketing specialist. You've been a freelance consultant. We're going to talk a little bit about that and how that helps you. Mm-hmm. You also help performing arts theaters all over the country.
I do.
You have programs in Texas and Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York. You're really set to do all this, and it's so exciting. We're going to talk to him about his grant writing and the fact that he is the grant supervisor and treasurer for the Springfield Cultural Council and the executive director of Dream Studios, which is in Springfield. Yes. We're going to find out so much today about Benjamin Smith and his show, The Obituary, which is participating in the New York Festival.
Yes.
The theater festival.
Yeah, we actually participated in the New York Theater Festival.
It's kind of going on right now.
It's going on, it's wrapping up, and hopefully we're nominated for some awards. So we got our fingers crossed.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank
this
you.
has been kind of a whirlwind for you over this past year.
Yes, it has.
You wrote the play.
Yes.
And then you got your actors, the casting, the readings, and then, I got to see the play, which is why I have my lovely t-shirt on today.
Yes.
And it's really a great play.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So it's called The Obituary.
Yes.
And, do you want to tell us a little bit about, and not only what it's about, but like what prompted you or what inspired you to write this story?
Wow. Good question. Well, I wrote this story in class at Harvard, and I was challenged to write something that I felt that I can connect with because we knew that we had to produce it eventually or we'll get a read on campus. So I just wanted to be creative. And I've thought, when it comes to death changes a lot of people. And it's such a mystery because you don't know when it's coming. You really don't. Some people do, but you don't know when it's coming. And then when it comes, it opens up so many doors of closets of private information that you did not know. Yeah. When you're reading someone's obituary, you find out that they have kids that you didn't know about, or they're from someplace that you did not know about. So it's so much. It was so much into it. So I decided, let me take this complex situation and bring it on stage and talk about a family and their challenges. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to do. So I wanted to make it really creative.
It's very creative and it's very realistic.
Yes.
Because it is so true. When someone is dying or even after their death, you find out things about people that you didn't know before.
Yes.
Yes. I had an aunt who had passed away. We never knew when she was 16 she gave up a child to adoption.
Wow.
But all of a sudden, that started coming out,
Exactly.
And it's similar a little bit to some of the storylines in your story.
Definitely.
And it's like you start questioning, like, wow, who was this person?
Yeah.
But it wasn't listed in her obituary that she was the mother of this child. So there are things in the obituaries that get buried.
Definitely.
Or changed.
Exactly. Changed and get buried. And one of the things that when I wrote the obituary, because actually I was going through a probate process with my own family, my parents' house. And one thing that happened is that I found out that my brother, who was deceased, had children that we did not know about as well. Oh. And that all came out during his obituary.
Yeah.
So it's just like, now it's just so, it was so much fabric to the fibers of creating this part of this play. And I'm like, I want to use this. I want to use this because it's an emotional journey for everyone.
Definitely.
I mean, first of all, you don't know when it's coming, and when it happens, it hits you in the face.
Yeah.
And then you're faced to make a lot of decisions in about 7 days.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You do make a lot of decisions.
Yes.
And, for those of us with great faith, we have this ability to, whether it's our imagination or, we really are spiritually communicating with our loved ones.
Yes.
And you show this so well.
Yes.
Where, the son who, is trying to make decisions for his father who's passed away. And his father comes to him and is sharing those details. And I'm like watching going, oh, this is my life. Like someone gets it.
Yes.
And it's so unique how you were able to really give the character those lines to do.
Thank you. And for me, when I wrote this character, and when I wrote the father and the son, for me, it was like a really close connection that I had.
Yeah.
I lost my mom when I was 23. And when I was living in Boston, before that I was in school for 5 years in Florida, was in Boston right after. And when she passed away and I came home, her spirit spoke to me and told me things that I would not have known.
Yeah.
She told me about a trunk in the attic that she had that was filled with brand new sheets and towels from Steiger's.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically from Steiger's. And she said, don't bring them out until my mother get there. So I did not know. How would I have known that?
Right.
Right. And the funny thing about it was the trunk that the stuff was in was my college trunk.
Oh.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
That communication is amazing. And, the muses that we have come to us to help tell us the story, I mean, there's a lot of what they're telling us resonates in our own lives. I mean, we do end up writing what we've experienced, or what we want to experience.
Right, exactly.
So
exactly.
So you wrote the play, and I know you said you wrote it in a class. So my questions are: A, do you write it in a special program? Do you have like cell text, or do you do a final draft? Do you do it in WordPerfect?
I'm a WordPerfect.
Okay.
I just WordPerfect because I have to be able to create anywhere I'm at, and sometimes I'm on my phone with ideas. But at first, when I first started to write this play, I'm taking classes. But when I started writing the play, putting the ink to the paper, I was sitting in front of my computer for like days. And I'm looking at this blank screen, and I'm like, okay, I need a story. I had a deadline.
Yeah.
And then I met the character. I met Thad,
Yeah.
the young man, and he said he had a problem. And that was the spark. And from that moment when I met Thad, just the spark of creating his story and figuring out his problem and how I can help him.
Yeah.
That was the challenge. And that's what I wanted to do.
It's such a gift to be a player, to be a writer in general, because
is.
we are really trying to help the character.
We are.
And, sometimes it's the character that we didn't even know.
Definitely.
Like, how did you find me? How did you find me?
Exactly.
And again, like in the obituary, you have this ability to really show without saying the underlining secrets that are happening. I mean, with children who show up, or affairs that happen, and it's just interesting how as an audience we can understand the whole story, but yet the characters sometimes don't.
Definitely. I feel like we as the writers, we know we're building this arc of the show, and we know where we want to go with the show, but our characters are driving it. They are totally driving it. And like there's Theodore and there's Thaddeus and their father and son, and they were going in two different directions, and I'm trying to figure out like how can we come together, and then it just kind of happened, and I felt like I love this. I mean, to sit down with a character and say, what's the problem? What's going on in your life? And just penning it to the page, like you said, and then trying to take it and mold it and craft it into this arc and this story. And obviously classes helped. Classes helped a lot. Thank you.
But you've been very creative your whole life.
I have. This is not my first play.
So this is not your first day at the rodeo.
Yeah, definitely not.
And you're from Springfield. You're in Springfield now, and you own the Dream Studios.
Yes,
Tell us a little bit about Dream Studios.
So we've been around for a while, and then we just shifted during COVID. But we've been around, and we taught acting, singing, and dance. for several years, and we've actually worked with young people in the community, and we worked with kids who actually have done Lion King and toured in New York City, and we've worked with just different people who have done different plays. We actually worked with Leona Michelle Weaver, who actually has done Nina Simone on Off-Broadway and Little Girl Blue. And so we have worked with a lot of different people, so it has been just a great opportunity to see young artists writing and creating, and then seeing some of the young people who came through my program actually working in the arts professionally today. So it's amazing.
How I don't want to say how old you are, but when did you start Dream Studios, and what made you make this dream a reality?
Well, so I went to FAMU, Florida A&M University, and I went on a theater scholarship. But when I got to FAMU, a lot of other students that were there were so much advanced. They had so much more theater than I had, and I'm like, wow, I'm here too, though.
Yeah.
So I thought, it'd be great for me to provide an opportunity for young people to get that experience prior to going to school, and not only that, but also there's opportunities for people to have theater scholarships. And that's so amazing when you can go to school on a theater scholarship if you're not athletically inclined or you're not academically inclined. There's a world for you, and there's a door for you, and you can use theater to open that door.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do that. So DREAM stands for dramatically reaching everyone's artistic mentality. And I wanted to make sure that we gave opportunity for young people to just dream and realize who they can be. And we try to meet the children in every aspect of what they can do. So it's not just about being on stage, but some of them are writers, some of them are choreographers, some of them are stage managers.
And it's not all children, right? You do children and adults.
Children and adults, yes.
So is it more run like, I want to say, like an after-school program, camps, things like that?
Yes, it was more ran like after-school programs and camps, and now we're going into the production. So now we're kind of elevating to being producers and producing shows, and it feels right.
And for Springfield, Massachusetts, the town, the city, we need more outlets for kids to explore.
We definitely do.
If you want your child to play a sport, you can find one everywhere.
Everywhere.
But you're right, like when you're exploring, kind of these creative talents with singing and dancing and, trying to pursue a future in acting and things, you got to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. And it can be very expensive to go to these agencies and things.
It can be. And a lot of times, a lot of our young people, they see these things on the internet about coming to the mall and audition, and they pay a lot of money for some expensive headshots.
Yeah. Yeah, and then where does it go? Yeah, no, it's so true.
And you have expensive headshots.
It's fun. It's fun, but you're not really getting the experience. Right. And you're providing that.
Yeah. So. And I think it's really great when you meet a young person where they're at, a person, period, where they're at. Like I said, I have adults who are also acting as well, young and old. To all ages, adults who want to be on stage or who just want to do something creative, and this is an opportunity for them.
The actors that you got for the Obituary, are they from your program?
No, they are not.
Okay.
No, we actually did a casting in New York City for that because we knew that we were going to be at the Theater Festival in New York City. Yeah. And at first, I did cast from Springfield, though, because I felt like it would be easier for me to have a cast here in Springfield, rehearse locally, then go to New York. However, I don't know, a lot of the actors that I knew, they were afraid to show up. I don't know what it was.
It is sometimes hard to get people to commit.
Yes. Yeah. And so then I decided, let me just go to New York.
And it's a commitment, especially even with community theater, and people are doing, whether it's a reading or they're doing an actual play, they're not getting paid.
Right.
And, it's the rehearsal schedule can be pretty intense. For a reading, it's about a week long.
Yes.
So, you're committing for that whole week. It's a great experience, and it's, fun to do, and it goes on your resume, and it helps the playwright get his stuff out there.
Exactly.
But trying to get people to commit, and especially how you're doing the Obituary and taking it like nationwide, worldwide.
Yeah, definitely.
You need those people to commit. So now I'm going to bring up, how much does all this cost?
Oh.
Because you have to, if you're having these actors, you're paying them.
Yes, we do.
And you're traveling, so you're paying traveling expenses. Yes. Are you a self-made millionaire that you can fund it yourself?
I wish I was a self-made millionaire.
Someday,
I do grant writing.
Okay.
That helps, but also just making sure that I market. And always some proceeds from the door goes towards the price of the actors because we have to. We're just a theater that's trying to produce new works and you have to invest in yourself. So I feel like I've invested. So not all the times that all the shows were very lucrative. Sometimes we're performing and just getting our names out there. Like New York Theater Festival, we don't make anything off of that. But it's the opportunity for us to be in New York and get the exposure.
And to participate in the New York Film Festival, I mean, you have to, in order to do any of these festivals, you have to submit samples and you have to be accepted. And a lot of times there's a fee with that submission. So, you know, it's good, I think, for people who are looking to, you know, produce their own shows or try to get their, you know, their stuff off the ground, you know, to know that you can look for grants to get this money to do it.
You definitely can. I would start locally, look at your local cultural councils, and just find out where you can, who believes in you. And that's always the blessing when you find that you have, I call them our super fans. Yeah. Because we have people who follow our shows and they go to our different cities, and I love that.
That's awesome.
And they support. They will send donations all the time.
I would have loved to have gone to New York when you were doing that. It was the wrong timing for me.
Yeah. And the show has elevated so much. I mean, when we did it here locally, we were in a theater space that's not a traditional theater space.
Yeah, you did at New England Public Media.
Yes, so it was kind of hard to actually build in all the aspects that we wanted to build in. But in this theater in New York, we was able to actually get the reflection of the show that I wanted it to happen.
So are you traveling with all the props and things that I saw on that stage?
We are traveling with most of the props. Well, actually, we do travel with them, but if there's cities that I don't have to bring stuff, it makes it easier for us.
I mean, you know, I think, you know, like I was a florist for 33 years.
Yes.
So, you know, when I see the scene, because, I mean, you know, it takes place kind of in a funeral home, so there's a florist who's always bringing the flowers in, and I'm looking at them going, wow, that's so how it is, you know, and it's great that, you know, you were able to have these funeral tributes made in artificial flowers. Something, and that's great to be able to move around.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, in the beginning, I actually went and I contacted the funeral homes and florists. I'm like, I need some flowers, guys. Can y'all create something? But then we actually put our artistic team together to create some things, and we have such an array of flowers that we could, but it's just no space to bring them all.
No, and I think, like, showing how you had them, you can imagine the whole room was filled with flowers.
And that's we want
really
you to give. We want you to give that image that we said in the show, that, you know, the son is overcompensating with these flowers. These flowers upon flowers are constantly being delivered to this funeral home for his father. Yeah. And I just kind of wanted to build that, but I felt like, you know, we kind of had to create that in limited space, limited budget.
And these happen. I mean, I remember years ago I did a funeral for a woman who, you know, really didn't have any family. She actually was a member of an AA group, so she was, you know, in recovery. And when she passed away, like, that AA group, they just wanted to flood the funeral home with flowers because they were like, she always felt like she was so alone. And it really, you know, just showed that love and, you know, the whole. I mean, there's a whole spiritual energy and healing energy to flowers, which I could have a whole show on.
There really is. There really is. You know, in the play, we say that you can always tell how much a person is loved by the amount of flowers that they receive. Yeah. And, you know, and it's so funny because you go to a funeral and you look around and you look at the flowers and you're like, okay. And then you go to other funerals, you see all this array of flowers everywhere, going down the aisle and behind the casket and everywhere. And you're like, wow, okay. Yeah. And it does really
Heaven's garden.
It really reflects. And I think that we should give our loved ones the flowers as they live.
Yes, 100%.
And we should also decorate
This is a good episode for florists.
Yeah, and we should decorate them when they
Don't
go.
write in lieu of flowers. Just send some flowers.
And when the child comes, and send another.
Yes,
you know, just constantly. All right, florist, you understand?
Shout out to all my floral sisters and brothers. So, you know, we have so much that we're covering, you know, about, like, you know, not only the inspiration of your writing, how you took the classes to learn how to write it, you know, but you kind of just grabbed those reins and said, okay, I'm going to cast it and produce it and get actors and fundraise and market it. Yeah. And all of that is who Benjamin Smith is. I mean, you've been writing grants for years. Yes. So bringing in that experience of writing grants now to do it for yourself is a huge asset for you.
It really is.
And the marketing aspect, like, you know, that's a whole, I mean, when people write, I mean, sometimes, you know, a lot of writers are, you know, kind of the quiet, shy, like, okay, here, I wrote this, do something with it for me, you know, and you can get people to do it, but it costs you money.
Yes, definitely.
So, you know, when you're applying for grants, what do you look for?
when I'm applying for grants, I definitely look for this who connects with and resonates with what our vision is.
Yeah.
Definitely the arts, of course, definitely the arts. But sometimes you could look at different things like resolution with death, and I try to partner my play with the grants.
Okay.
And also I've had speaking engagements after the obituary about death and will planning and all that other things.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. So I kind of like...
It is amazing how doors open that you didn't see coming, because you're like, I just wrote a play, and now you want me to tell you about how to plan for a will?
Yeah, definitely. But I feel like that's why I partner with organizations that are in line with my vision. Definitely. And definitely the arts grants, but you know what? I feel like, when you... I'm not afraid to knock on doors of theaters, and that's why there's so many opportunities that are happening right now. Yeah. And I think the key thing is marketing your project. Yes. You have to be able to create, the one sheet, and my one sheet is a 3-sheet. It's
okay. So what's your one sheet? Tell us what the one sheet is that helps market a play.
One sheet has a little bit of the synopsis of the play, a little bit about the playwright, and a little bit about a few pictures, some iconic thing that like the logo of the play, and it gets people interested in knowing more about the play. And then they can go to the website or
the characters descriptions.
Yeah, character descriptions. If you got a cast that you're locked on to, like I do, then you have headshots. So it introduces whomever to this project that they may not know of. But they see the graphics from your stage. They get to see videos from things that you've done before eventually. Yeah. But this is a way. It's like your resume.
So like you're doing your one sheet as a online. It's not. You're not handing a piece of paper. You probably still have a piece of paper, but because you're having all these links.
It's digital.
Okay.
It is digital, and it's it's digital. But I have printed them. I have printed out them as well. And I feel like for me, when I go to different events, it's just a great way to introduce my play to someone. If I go to an opening night of a show, it's a great way to...
Is it something you'd be willing to share with the audience that we could link in our things? I don't know. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I can share it with you.
Especially for the writers out there who are like, I want to know what a one sheet looks like. A successful one sheet.
Yes, and then definitely... And I feel like it's just a way for you to introduce your show.
Yep.
And then sometimes, you have the elevator pitch where you can talk about your show, your play, and
the story itself.
But this gives a little bit of information about the background of who's creating it and how they can actually get it, and it gives you your amount, the runtime of the show. It just lets a prospective theater know a lot about the production prior to seeing it and prior to just engaging in it. They'll see the logos. It may intrigue them. Yeah. They see the pictures of the cast, and sometimes people are looking for something specific. And we actually were talking with a theater that actually had a show drop out of their season, and they was considering the obituary based on just seeing our logo,
right?
Just in the name. And the only thing about our show is that they, for budget wise, my cast has 5 characters. And they were looking for a smaller cast, and you'll find that a lot.
Yes. Well,
you will
one
find
of the plays that I wrote had about 17 characters.
Okay.
And the theater was like, we like it around 5.
Yeah.
So now I've taken that script and developed it into a movie.
Okay, and that's great.
That's fine. But I do see how theater, especially like the local regular theaters. I'm not talking Broadway. They like anywhere from one a monologue or to 5, maybe 6 cast members. And you can use those 5 cast members and sometimes double cast them if you have other characters. Yeah. But it's still a matter of keeping it smaller people, smaller amounts of people, because then the budget can stay.
And theater is so budget driven right now.
Very.
So budget driven, and for everything from the set design to everything, it's so budget driven. So when they see a script and it has a lot of characters in it, sometimes it's just passed. Just because of that.
Right.
So you gotta really be careful of when you're writing. But if you have a great script that needs the characters and you stand behind it,
fight for
stand behind it.
Yes.
Because I have great scripts too that have more than 5 characters.
And will you be doing your other scripts?
I will. I definitely will. Actually, I was looking. This is the funny thing, because actually this season when I did the obituary, I was planning on doing a play that I wrote before. It was like this was the season for this play called The Red Curtain, and that's what I was going to do. And then all of a sudden, I wrote the obituary, and the obituary just took off. and just kept on going. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've talked with, friends of mine, and, I started a little band productions. We were doing, readings in front of people, just to read it, just to get the work out there.
Yes,
And
definitely.
I think that's, there's even, an audience for that, because they want to be the first to hear this play. And then it's great because they can give you some feedback about what they liked, what, could work better, things like that. So,
Definitely.
The developmental part of writing a play can be lengthy.
Definitely it is. And I feel like even with the obituaries, things are constantly changing slightly.
Yeah.
Like if you've seen it the first time we produced it to now, you're just like, wow, it's slightly different. And there's funny things that you can actually change little words, and it could just change the whole trajectory of the play, or how people perceive it in the audience. And I've done that, and people who have seen the show before said, "Oh, wait a minute, this is different." And I'm like, "Yeah," but I want to know, how does it make you feel? Because I'm still in development.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to figure out
and that's everything we're writing. Or, it is about making the audience feel something.
Exactly. I want you to walk out with questions. I want you to walk out with solutions, or just I want you to walk out elevated. Thinking. I want you to connect with the character, and I wanted to produce characters that are flawed, but you can find that the compassion.
See, I connected with your florist character.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I also connected with the other ones, because we all have been in those situations.
Yes.
In some shape.
Yes.
But it's like, I was like, oh, good, I'm in this play.
Yes, definitely. And I wanted to make sure people had compassion for people, and I wanted to make sure that the overall storyline was really there. It was apparent that it's about forgiveness, and sometimes it's so hard to find forgiveness. And even in the darkest hours of your mind and your life, there's a moment where you could just stop and reflect, and you can find some good. And I want to show some good.
Yeah, you should be an inspirational speaker.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, you're inspiring me not only to, be a good person in life, but, to write and to start writing for more grants. And, I mean, there's definitely so much wisdom that's coming out of you, which is great. And I'm so happy that you're having success with the obituary, and I can't wait to see, when you do the red curtain and these other things.
Yes.
Can we tell the audience where they can get information to either see or find out more information, at least about the obituary and Dream Studios and you?
Yes. So if you want to find out more information about the obituary, you can go to our website. It's theobituaryplay.com. And that's the information for the shows. You'll find out all of our upcoming shows. You'll find out information on me as a writer and things that I've produced in the past, and where we're going as far as in the future. And also, we want you to follow us on our Instagram at The Obituary Play as well.
The Obituary Play.
And that's where you'll find out the day-to-day activities of what we're doing and where we're going as well. And I think that's more instant. It's very instant. So you'll see a lot of fun stuff as well. Character backdrops and all kinds of things from the characters.
That's cool. Yeah. And Dream Studios?
And Dream Studios as well. And one of the things is right now, I'm actually working with some young actors in the community right now. And I'm always looking for people who are interested in getting on stage and just wanting to do some work. And it's not really a major commitment, but it's a way for you to actually expand your creativity. So,
nice. Yes. You're in Springfield, Massachusetts, so that's great. I thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you.
This has been really fun and informative, and I'm just got a lot of enthusiasm.
Thank you.
So thank you. I want to thank Benjamin Smith for coming into the studio
Thank
today
you.
live
so
that
much.
we could talk about the obituary.
Yes.
And I want to thank you, the listening audience, as always, for tuning into another episode of yWrite. And I know for the playwrights out there, I think you've gotten a lot of information today about, how to get your play off the ground. So I hope you're going to rewatch this and share this with some of your friends. And I hope all of you will subscribe to our YouTube channel at yWrite with Angela Grout. Now, for this is the time of the program where I'm going to give you that writing prompt, because, we know on yWrite that you're tuning in to learn why writers write, but you're also tuning in to find out why you should be writing. So when the show ends, I just ask you to set your timer for, 10 minutes. And today, our prompt is going to be a little bit different, because I want you to start making a couple of lists. So, if you're writing a play, this is going to be very important for you. Make some lists about what your play is about, who the people are you're going to be touching, who the audience might be, who's going to resonate with this, what kind of demographics, is going to be looking at the story that you've written. Because when you start making a list like this and making a list of, what your goal is with the show, you can start kind of evaluating where to apply for grants, because you need some money to get into development. And if you've at least socked some money away and I don't know, under your mattress or in your bank account, and you're going to make the investment yourself, that's wonderful, and you're still going to probably have to do that. But asking the community and asking and writing for a grant to get the money, I mean, you have to make sure that you're applying to the right company for your project, because it has to be right for them. I once pitched my story, Dear Baby Get Out, about pregnancy to a middle school literary agent, and of course it wasn't the right fit. So, you want to make sure you find the right fit for your show. So take some time today and start writing out, exactly what your goals are. Thank you so much for tuning into yWrite. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.